Hey guys, it's Turok, and today I wanted to talk about One Piece today. That's what I usually do, and I wanted to talk about something that's been bugging me with the recent chapter and how we saw Im-Sama and the world government has this ultimate weapon. I don't know if that ultimate weapon is the best way to call it, but it is a weapon that destroyed all of the island kingdom of Lucisa. Hold on a second. How did Tekking pronounce that?
As for the Lelucia Kingdom.
Okay, Lelucia Kingdom. So recently with this chapter, with the Lelucia Kingdom, it was destroyed by, apparently Im-Sama was controlling this. The girls, they seem well aware of this, that he can do this. Maybe they don't fully know. If Im-Sama does turn out to be a girl, then it's a girl. I'm probably just gonna say he accidentally, or not accidentally, just because it's gonna be simple for my mind to keep saying it that way and to keep going with this story. Im-Sama destroyed this island. The Gorosei, so the Gorosei probably know about this. They know that this weapon is in the hands of Im-Sama, and it's probably why they're so confident all the time, on top of having the Marines to control the world that they control, the countries they have under their federation, their alliance, their all that kind of fancy nouns for whatever they want to call themselves. The world government has this thing. I'm thinking. I'm freezing. I'm looking at this. I am wondering why. My main reason for recording this video is why doesn't Im-Sama use this weapon on pirates, the big ones, the Yonko? And there are other pirates that are probably just as close to being Yonkos that I would say could, if they're causing enough trouble to nations that are part of the world government, that they could just get wiped out by these by Im-Sama's weapon, by this probably Uranus. If this weapon can destroy all these islands, why doesn't Im-Sama use it on Kaido? Why didn't he use it on Kaido, or Big Mom, or Whitebeard? Especially Kaido and Big Mom come to mind because we know exactly where their home base is. They controlled specific territories, and they're causing trouble. Their major pirate troops will probably cause all kinds of trouble in the New World, where I'm certain there are other nations there. We got Dressrosa, and actually, do we have any other nations we know? How many nations do we know are in the New World? A good question to look up. Excuse me. So I wonder if Im-Sama, for the main reason I'm thinking Im-Sama would not do this to me, I'm wondering if Im-Sama is trying to allow a certain amount of chaos to happen in the world, that they really just don't care. I mean, it's all part of a big plan, perhaps. I can think of various other reasons. So I'm basically going off random reasons here. So one thing I'm thinking about is that not many people know about this weapon. Obviously, it seems only the Gorosei also know about this. And at the moment, the only other people we know about it who happen to see this. So the big reveal here, the thing that I saw Tekking talk about, that I totally forgot about, it's been years since I watched that bit of the anime, is that Beige Capone and his crew likely saw this device over 2 years ago at the when they entered the New World, shortly after the Marineford siege was over. And they actually got drawn up toward it through some kind of gravitational pull, maybe a tractor beam actually, or just magnetism? No, I don't think they had a lot of metal on that ship that would cause it. So, how many people? So if not many people know about this thing, sorry, where was I going to go with that thought? So Im-Sama may just want. I'm wondering if Im-Sama just may want this machine hidden and doesn't want to use it too much so that the Marines don't know about it. Because the Marines there's a lot of Marines, and they while they may have a lot of high-ranking, only a lot of high-ranking officers that know some stuff about the inner workings of and the corruptness of the world government, especially the admirals and some vice admirals like Garp, who've just been there long enough to figure out everything, and that's why he never took up the position of admiral, whether he was offered it or whether he would have to request it when an opening became available. Which, by the way, why do they only want 3 admirals? With the kind of power someone like Garp has, and there might be a couple other high-ranking officers, vice admirals or rear admirals, someone who's got impressive powers or physical prowess, why wouldn't they just make an additional admiral to it here and there, or something of that effect? I know why they want to limit that so much. They could that way too. Say the admirals, since they are supposed to be like the personal, almost like they have to respond to things that happen. If the girl say like the one who got punched by Luffy, they have to an admiral has to come and make a proper response. If they made more admirals technically, or something to that effect, they could help the girl say a little bit more. I would think they would make it a more. Maybe the Gorosei could just have one of them personally appointed as some kind of attendant / slave if they wanted. I wonder if they would do that. So, and Im-Sama may not want the Marines to talk about it because outside of those very high-ranking officers who know a lot of state secrets, the other ones may not like what they find out about this weapon and start flapping their mouths, basically, I'm thinking, and tell people, and this may get to like Morgan, the news guy, and then the world would start knowing about it. So there's that thing to counter my idea, why he doesn't have it used a lot. How did I start? So he may not want it used that way. He wants to use it, the way Im-Sama used it is just to wipe out islands that, definitely become a problem. That's the right word. Actually, the reason he did it, they did it now just to get Sabo, right? So, that's right. That's because Sabo saw Im-Sama's throne. So, that throne, actually, that brings up another question I need to go follow up and look at. Is that throne always just been there and no one knows about it in Marijois? And he just happened to walk in on it and it escaped from fighting the other admirals? There's something there. So Im-Sama would not want to... Well, now I gotta circle back to these stuff. So why doesn't Im-Sama use... No, now I'm done. So first, what was it? I went back to the Gorosei being knowing about it, and they don't want to let the Marines know about it. So another question about this weapon is why does Im-Sama have it? How does Im-Sama control it? Why doesn't Im-Sama use it on the pirates? That's the question I'm trying to circle back to. So we have Big Mom out there. With the biggest, probably controlling possibly the largest territorial amount of islands that anyone owns outside of the world government. She's got like all these islands. I forget how many there were supposed to be. I think it was somewhere almost up to 40 islands. She is she has one of the road poneglyphs. They must have known by now that she would have a road poneglyph that would lead to Laftel, someplace that they want to seemingly keep hidden. Or do they? Does the world government know enough about what Laftel is, or Laftel, and whether it's something they want to hide? They probably would. So Big Mom, so back to my point. If Big Mom is such a problem, someone like her, nuke her. Destroy her island with that thing. You take her out likely. or maybe that's another thing. How powerful is this thing? It looks like it's a giant ship the size of a island itself. You could say it pulled up the Beijing ship, and it looked they were like the diameter of it. I'm guessing was like the diameter would probably look like it was about 2 miles at least. So a circumference of 4. It's just huge. So the one thing I have though to counter not destroying Big Mom is I kind of think Im-Sama and them funding the Marines, they kind of want to just have the Marines have something to do. Like the Marines would be, what would the Marines be doing if it weren't for pirates? I almost feel like no, that's not gonna quite work right. But Im-Sama would have the Marines doing all this work, and well, actually, the world government could, if they didn't have as many pirates, I'm thinking they could cut a lot of Marines off the payroll and make it a little easier for their funding. But they don't seem to have a problem with that with all these new battleships, all these battleships they have, and also though if they were to trim it down, they could just cut a lot of the average Marines out of there and just have only the vice admirals and admirals around to patrol and police the world. And doesn't most of the many of those big islands probably have their own local forces to help protect their shipping and merchants from pirates? But anyways, yeah, I'm thinking about pirates again. Kaido. Well, actually, this one came. I thought likely the reason with this one with Kaido, that Kaido, because Kaido is in Wano, and there seems to be a great importance to it, and something there that the Sengoku and realize that all these powerful figures get drawn to it. I'm wondering if there's something else about Wano that Im-Sama knows about, and once Kaido took up shop there, even if Im-Sama wanted to use it on Kaido to get rid of him, he would not want to damage Wano's mainland. Well, that's actually easy. This is pretty easy too. Maybe Pluton is there. I'm thinking about Pluton is there. So I would wager that Im-Sama and possibly the Gorosei know Pluton is there, and they don't want to destroy it. They would want to make use of that someday. Tekking was talking about this too. How he thinks the world government would want to have control of Pluton too, and if indeed again this is Uranus, and they someday would want to take control of the Poseidon person, fish woman, a person that could gain. So if she had a child that inherited the gift next, that would be they want that person. I'm surprised they haven't tried to kidnap her yet, too. So actually, I have a thought on that came to me. I'll get to in a sec here. So back to Wano. Maybe he doesn't want to destroy Wano because he wants Pluton. So back to Kaido. Maybe he left Wano alone too all this time. If indeed Im-Sama has been ruling some kind of immortal and has been ruling Wano for the world government for all 8 centuries, as I suspect he has. I'm thinking he left Wano alone because at some point he wanted to get Pluton and would not destroy it too as some kind of problem island. Though there does seem to be other islands that aren't aligned that we've heard of, but they aren't nuked out of existence either. But back to Wano. Kaido not being nuked might just be because, damn it, I'm thinking if Wano's special and Im-Sama wants to leave it alone, he'd be like, shit, now that fucking pirate Kaido took over, and now I can't get rid of him with my weapon because he's on an island. I need to stay as is until, this is what I'm getting at, till a certain point. I'm wondering now if Doflamigo actually brought this up. He's talking about some great war that's going to come in the future. And now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if because he's a former Celestial Dragon and he knows so much shit with his connections and that, if he knows that something's going on with Im-Sama and the world government's got a plan, especially with the regarding that cleansing they're talking about. Maybe Im-Sama wants to gather those 3 ancient weapons together and start that cleansing. First I was just thinking about a war. Maybe he wants to start a war. Maybe he'll finally, once he gets those things all together, he will somehow unleash that plan with the Gorosei to basically wipe out all pirates in the world and kind of do a cleansing. Maybe the cleansing means that he's been waiting to deal with pirates and all kinds of dissidents like that to kind of wipe the slate clean, kind of like God just sending a flood. He's going to wipe the slate clean once he has all three weapons in his control to wipe out all pirates. And then he can't do that yet, and he doesn't want to make known about Ouroboros, so maybe that's why he keeps the Marines as an active force to help keep his... Because he would want to probably keep... The way I'm looking at this is that the cleansing is only about getting rid of piracy, right? Maybe at that time, once they get those weapons, they would destroy Totland and any other home base they are aware of like the revolutionaries too. But he wouldn't want to destroy the other nations that are subservient to them. It does them no good to have nothing to rule, I think. He wants to rule over the world, but wants to get rid of all the problems. And he doesn't want to make it known he's there for some reason. He wants the world nations to realize, not think about there's some king ruling over them, probably to keep them from rising up and becoming part of the revolutionary kind of cause. Or even if they did it separately in their own way and banded into alliances and said, no, we're going to strike out away from you. And we don't care if you try and buster call us. We'll have all of us in the South Blue world, for example, maybe stay together and we send you Marines. We'll fight them off. He doesn't want that, so he's not going to let people know about him. But anyways, yeah, the weapons. I feel like now he's thinking about that Doflamigo knew about the weapon, knows about this cleansing coming along, and that's too why they got to keep him from yapping about it. But that thought makes me suspect the cleansing is coming. Actually, now that I just thought about it, I wonder if... What if Xebec had some connection with Im-Sama? And because they talked about him trying to take over the world? What if Xebec was not a pirate at one time, but worked for like the Gorosei? Was one of the Gorosei, and he left there because he was fed up with Im-Sama. Could be one. He's fed up with what happened with Im-Sama, finding out about Im-Sama, not wanting to deal with this shit, and the Gorosei probably know all about God's Valley. What if he found out something about how important God's Valley is? Maybe there's something important there, much like Laftel could be. Like there could be something great power in Laftel that the pirates want now, or the world government would want to. Maybe there was something at God's Valley. Maybe it was like a similar thing. God's Valley was just as important as Laftel, but something the world government knows about, and it was important to Im-Sama as well as the 10-year beat the Celestial Dragons. And Xebec wanted to went to that island to take over it and gain said power and basically usurp the Gorosei and Im-Sama to rule the world as a pirate though. And he had in order to do it, look what he had to do. Look how clever he was. If any of this, even if it's not exactly that, I just realized he was very smart, Xebec, to take gain the power, some of the greatest young pirates of that age, under his control as like counter to whatever admirals would have been and vice admirals would have been there at the time. We know some of the ones who are admirals now were probably vice admirals and may have had their devil fruit. So that alone could be, you need counters to that. If you had a Kainu and a Kizaru and a Kiji, Xebec was very smart to get Whitebeard and Big Mom and Kaido and Shiki was there too, and some others. The Wang Ji, who might be dead now, and that might be it. Maybe Xebec was kind of like the Aizen of this story, where he just left and he wanted to create his own world order through pirates. Like he basically was doing this anyways. But now I'm thinking he may have had secret knowledge, far more than like even Doflamigo would know. And like Doflamigo doesn't seem to care. He likes. I wonder if Doflamigo were more powerful, he would do that. But so Xebec would have gained all these followers through pirates to be the force he needs to help protect him and fight the admirals, while he gained whatever he wanted from God Valley. And that's maybe, what about if that's why Garp knew he couldn't, that him and the other admirals weren't going to be enough. That's funny that they only mentioned Garp and Roger went there and broke up the fight. And I mean, Roger probably had him as himself, and there was Rayleigh was with him, and whoever followers he would have had. But I'm surprised none of the admirals never were brought up as being part of the ones who are admirals now. If they were like vice admirals, and Garp would have had to gain, I would think, garner a considerable force of high-ranking officers like that to help fight Whitebeard and Big Mom and the other Xebec's big heavy hitters. So so where was I? Im-Sama not using the weapon. So Im-Sama maybe using this weapon, maybe waiting to get all these weapons for the cleansing. May not want to let this weapon be known so that the world doesn't. I also think there's like that. There's the big idea the world government is very benevolent. That's also the thing I keep forgetting. The world government is seen as a very benevolent force, a government that helps protect probably all the people in the blues especially understand this and believe in this. Protect them from the pirates. They create order so that these other nations don't go to war with one another because they're probably their own petty squabbles. Maybe if one king or another has a spat over something, so say it's like the Trojan War, and one guy's bride-to-be is whisked away by another prince, and they wouldn't just go to war over this. The world government would probably not allow that. They would probably arbitrate some kind of peace between them, among them, so that there wouldn't be a war. I could see that as a way the world government is as a force to stop that kind of stuff is a good thing, and maybe that's the kind of stuff many citizens want to have the world government stick around for. And that's so to get to the point with this weapon though, the Im-Sama would not want to use this weapon willy-nilly, so that it doesn't look like once it's known that that's some kind of force that's probably connected with the government, world government, the peoples will start thinking, what kind of a system are we part of that they can just go around and they're wiping off islands that don't please them? So he got that. He wants to keep it from the city, the government, so he keeps control. And then it seems like Im-Sama wants to have just control of the world, and but doesn't want to deal with doesn't want the pirates anymore. And that's about it right now I can think of. So, was that it? So, actually, this makes a question. This actually, one more thing that just came out. I almost forgot about this. This weapon, where is he housing this weapon around, I wonder? Maybe on the Red Line was my first thought. There's plenty of there's no one can get up top of that red line unless you can fly, and there's only like a few characters that can really fly in the world unless you got like a bird fruit, you got what's Morgan's got some kind of balloon thing, there's not many ways to get on top of the red line, so he could have it there. But the other thing that kept bugging me about this was the Skypians. Like, this thing's floating around. Well, maybe it's not high enough to see. How far are they up? 10,000 meters? How many miles is that? I'm also thinking for a second there, though, that maybe there is a Skypian island that this thing's being housed in, since it is related in the sky and it's meant to relate with the sky god, which is funny because we had Enel. But, what if there's a Skypian island, one of those islands up there, that's being housed at, and so maybe Im-Sama does know about Skypians too, but all the fact that he may have the only weapon in the world that can easily get up there, he doesn't. He never bothered to really tell the world Marines about it, or like they never try to make those Skypian islands part of the world government, because they would have to know if the only way to go up there would be with flying machines. Though I think. Was there something there where Vegapunk might be making one? So maybe in the future that will the information the girls that would leak out, like say, hey, we have a new campaign now to visit these new islands in the sky and tell them to see if they'll join our federation or again. But the Skypians, I'm wondering if the Skypians have ever seen this thing floating around. Their islands seem to be all over, right? I'm not sure. I know we went to the one above the Paradise side of the new Grand Line, and I don't remember where the one was that Nami went to. But no, there's other Sky Islands around, because there's the one that the balloon terminal. I think that's where Kaido went up to. He probably flew up there. There's something Kaido could fly around too. That's right, Kaido can fly. That's right. He never saw that thing when he probably was too drunk to remember. I just realized Kaido could have seen that thing, and he would be so drunk he probably just seen things like, oh, a big old machine flying around. I've had too much sake. Time to go back to Onigashima. But no, the balloon terminal, if that's indeed the name I'm remembering, is above the New World. And Kaido was up there. He tried to kill himself, and he landed on the island where Kid and Apu and Hawkins was there, tried to form that alliance. So there's islands over there, and this thing's floating around. Have any of them seen it? And what would they? Well, the thing probably won't go bothering them. Again, Im-Sama's not trying to make a big spectacle with this thing to make it known to the world. So if he started destroying Sky Islands, and that stuff islands start just raining down over people in the New World on other nations that are part of the world government, that wouldn't be a good idea. So yeah, he probably wouldn't even bother destroying those islands unless he really had a need to. So that was the last thing, I guess. Oh, I know. Actually, one other thing. I wonder if he didn't want to destroy. If Im-Sama knows about Laftel and he wants to know what's on Laftel, or I'm thinking if he knows about Laftel, wants to get to Laftel himself, maybe he didn't want to destroy like Big Mom's main island or Wano, because the road poneglyphs are there. They had I think Big Mom got it from somewhere else. He would maybe want to get those road poneglyphs at some point, or have them information deciphered off of them. Maybe that's why they want Nico Robin, right? So that he can find. They want Nico Robin to decipher those road poneglyphs. So they don't want to destroy it. This could go back to when they wanted to get Nico Robin before too. Of course, he knows something about the ancient kingdom thing, so they want it for that. But what if Im-Sama didn't destroy those islands because he didn't want the road poneglyphs destroyed? Perhaps this thing is strong enough to do that, and now he just wants those left alone till he can get them or the information in order to have that someday when Robin is in his clutches and they can figure out what Laftel is. Because again, maybe he wants to destroy Laftel like he destroyed God Valley. Once he finds it at this point, maybe it's or if he doesn't not want what's on there, if he suspects there's nothing useless on there, maybe he wants to find it either way. Let's say, because he will want to will want to know what's on there, and if it's worthwhile to him, he'll have it taken away. Probably like CP9 or something will do that. Someone would keep more discretion than the Marines, the Admirals, I guess too. And if not, he wants the coordinates because he could send this machine, his weapon there, and destroy it. Because it might pose some kind of threat to him, or it might also if he destroys it, maybe the pirates would give up. Although he don't kind of care at that point, because he'll probably just destroy the pirates at some point if he did want to have this plan with the other weapons. But maybe it's something there that he's worried about. Oh, there's something. What if Laftel is something that is maybe housing something important that he wants to destroy, because it has something to do, say Im-Sama's been in power for this 800 plus years, he's some kind of immortal. And even though he won the war and took over the world, maybe whoever he was fighting against in the Void Century hit stuff on Laftel. And maybe there was something with God Valley too. Maybe that's why God Valley was a former base of operations or something else of that importance. And then Xebec found out about that, whether he found out by his own means or he was related. I'm going to go with my theory right now that he was working within the government as a Gorosei member. Maybe they had control over something in the God Valley, and Raftel's like the yin and yang of this. There's a yin and yang with Raftel and God Valley, and Im-Sama has been looking for that island forever now, for 800 years, and so he's looking for that because there's something there that's important that could maybe bring him down or expose him, something definitively that could be shown to the world, like, hey, the world government's a sham. They did this stuff, and we've been under the control, and under his control more specifically, for 800 years. And maybe that's why he's looking for the road poneglyphs. Maybe he's been seeking them out, but they've been out of his reach all this time. And he's wanting them now to get to Raftel and destroy whatever is there that may undo his reign. I'm going with that one now. I like that. So, I guess that's it right now. Just my theories and thoughts on this stuff. And what about Roger, too? Does Roger... Oh, yeah, because Roger... Something else was just bothering with Roger. So Roger found out about Raftel through the voice of all things. I wonder... Actually, that makes me wonder if they find out that... If Im-Sama can find out that Momonosuke can also hear stuff like that, can he do the same thing as Roger? I'm just thinking if someone else like Roger, or the importance of Roger that has his ability that he had as a D-Clan member, is ever discovered again, like Luffy or Momonosuke, what if they may end up getting kidnapped because they may be necessary to help figure out something with getting to the Raftel? Because look how Roger got to Raftel. Well, even Roger still needed help with it, and he needed Oden, and now we need Robin. But still, that could lead to something where maybe that Momonosuke or Luffy would be necessary to be help find a way there too. Actually, that'd be one other last thought too is Zoe. I wonder if the world government knows, if Im-Sama knows about Zoe, and he just can't find it. I wonder if he would want to find it too. He may want to at some point because the road poneglyph is there, right? And what if he? I'm surprised they never got a minx to help find it because they can find it, right? I forget how that works with the minx. But he may want Momonosuke or Luffy's help to somehow do that. Actually, that's interesting. How is it that they can communicate with him like that? That reminds me that their ability to communicate with Zoe, the elephant, seemed a little bit kind of like how the Sea Kings listened to Princess, I forgot her name. This princess who's Poseidon. I wonder if there's anything there where that ability... That voice of all things is a similar ability. I'll figure it out. I'll have to research that and come back. So that's all I got today. I guess I wanted to do this thought, and it turned out I was able to think up more stuff than I originally thought, which is why it's so much fun to start randomly talking like this. So have a good one. Hey, Chuck, here, one more thing. This video is like splice this in later. One more thing I was thinking in my head when I brought up the possible connections with Xebec and Im-Sama was, what if Xebec, and this is the most far out one I'll have, but what if Xebec was related to Im-Sama, a son, perhaps? A brother, something. What if Xebec, Im-Sama is some kind of immortal, or what have you, wasn't the only one, and Xebec was related, and that is part of the reason he also knew about Im-Sama stuff, and did the stuff he ended up doing, forming a pirate crew, leaving his, so let's go with this. I'm going to say he was the son of Im-Sama. Im-Sama's been ruling all this time. What if Xebec was tired of Im-Sama having all this power? He was never going to step down because he just wants to keep the power, as these monarch types have in history have shown to be like. And Xebec struck out on his own, left the living in wherever they lived in Rejoa, and went out to form a pirate crew as a means to usurp his father Im-Sama, or mother maybe. I'm gonna go with father just now, but we'll figure that out later. Usurp his father by gaining the power of the greatest pirates he could find, and through his own power, like, we don't know what kind of power Im-Sama has. Like, how is he other than him controlling Ouroboros, Uranus? Tekking made a point in his video, I think it was yesterday's video, how maybe, I like that. I'm going to borrow this from Tekking's idea. Tekking said that, what if Im-Sama has the most powerful conqueror's hockey in the world, of an ability to take away people's will? What if Xebec has something like that too? Well, either way, it looked like he could have had something like that, and that was part of his way he was trying to control the other pirates. But he couldn't do it as well, obviously. It said that the others hated each other on the crew. Big Mom probably hated Whitebeard, and but Kaido probably hated Shiki or something like that. So, but what if Xebec has this power? So he had, maybe that's how he got them to force them to work for him, rather than just using the Davy bag fight. I think it was what Tekking mentioned once, which I think is possible, because then you have to listen, apparently. But I'm thinking, what if Xebec had that kind of control over them too, and that's how he got that crew together. Anyways, he has his crew together as a means to take out his dad, to usurp power, right? And that's why he wanted to take over the world, and all the other stuff I just said. So that's my last idea on that, is that Im-Sama was not the only one of his kind, if indeed he's different somehow, and that Xebec was like that too, and that's why he's different. Oh, what if then Blackbeard somehow related with that? Though Blackbeard's some kind of orphan, right? I forget Blackbeard's history, but he seems clearly to have some connections to Xebec. Maybe he just wants to emulate Xebec and, be a successor. Maybe he doesn't know everything about Xebec's past. If anything I said about Xebec's past, let's say, was true, maybe Blackbeard found out some of that. But, wait, did they say Rex D. Xebec? Was that really his name? Oh, what if Im-Sama is part of the will of D then, or something connection with that? There's something too. Anyways, my first thing was to add with Xebec being possibly related to Im-Sama, and then he had so I'm thinking again, he wanted to take over the world. He wanted to have the power, the reins of power of the world government, and Im-Sama wasn't going to give it up, so then he did all these things to usurp him, and then he would have just taken over, but by doing this through a pirate paradise. Maybe he didn't even care about the maybe somehow he just stopped caring about this whole facade too of the world government controlling everything through peaceful means, and he was more chaotic than Im-Sama. That could be it. I said earlier that Im-Sama wants to probably just control the world as it is. He doesn't want them to know about the weapon he's got. He doesn't want people to know he's there, which is why they just try to get rid of Sabo. And he wants to keep things as they are, but maybe cleanse the world of piracy. Maybe Xebec doesn't care about all that facade. He didn't. And that's why he struck out on his own too, and do this way. And maybe he just sat around like, I'm fed up with your dad and your shit like this. I'm going to take over the world. We're going to just do what we want. We should be able to do what we want. These people are beneath us. They're peons. Let's just wipe them out. And Im-Sama would be like, no, I like things the way they are. It's always better to work from behind the scenes. You don't need the dissidence of the people if they know you're in control like that. It's always that same thing with like I'm thinking like, for example, I'm thinking of anyone who's watched or maybe they've read X-Men. I haven't read much of X-Men. I was thinking about in the X-Men cartoon, there was that future where I think the character Cable came from, where Apocalypse ruled over the world with an iron fist, and now they're forming a rebellion to get rid of him. And you see that across all kinds of media like that. When someone rules with this iron fist, they've turned the world into a shithole because of their ways, they're always gonna bring up revolutionaries even more so. Maybe Im-Sama has been trying to avoid that, and that's why he wants to rule the world this way, and that's why he could have like maybe wanted to impart upon Xebec in my scenario here. And Xebec is like, fuck that, I'll just do it my way. And that's where we got the events that he did, that he failed in. Anyways, that's it. So I meant to mention that earlier when I did the other thing, but I started going off on the second tangent. The one I said about the girl was what came to my head second, and I went into that and got off, forgot about this one. Anyways, thanks.